Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video we have the dimensional banner for the Fairy Tail collab. We're going to be going over Natsu's skills in this video, and he is an S level warrior of the dimensional faction. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trial stage first of all to see him in combat. So we have seen him in the skill trailer. I just want to see here. Okay, he jumps onto the backline enemy, dealing pretty decent damage and providing the haste debuff down onto them. We saw that from the trailer. And then his ultimate is really his high power damage burst. So we can skip this here. Okay, so first of all, Natsu is going to be a magical damage dealer with the range of 1. Let's begin with his ultimate ability. It begins with 500 pre-fill energy, which is a lot. During battle preparation, choose between Lightning Fire Dragon mode and Fire Dragon King mode for Natsu. Now, Lightning Fire Dragon mode will focus on debuffing enemies, whereas Fire Dragon King mode delivers higher damage. In Lightning Fire Dragon mode, Natsu deals 1400%, at maximum this is 1600% of his attack as a multiplier, plus 160 per ultimate power that he has. So potentially that can go up to 4 ultimate power to be almost like a boosted 640% attack multiplier. However, in Fire Dragon King mode, he is going to deal up to 2,400 or actually 2,800% plus 280 per ultimate power that he has. And for both cases, it will deal damage to all enemies within a 3-tile frontal arc. But in Lightning Fire Dragon mode, he will also stun them for 3 seconds. In Fire Dragon King mode, it is just the raw damage, but a higher multiplier, as you can see here. So this multiplier is pretty insane, and you also have to keep in mind this is not one target. This is all targets in front of him, and for like AFK stages, usually if you can group up the enemy team, this is going to be hitting almost the entire enemy team. And I'm really like interested in the Fire Dragon King mode more, because I think that huge amount of damage maybe would have some use for AFK stages where you need high damage output to break through the enemy team. The stun for 3 seconds, I'm not as interested in, because, like, you know, there are many heroes which can stun or crowd control the enemy team, even Bonnie, for example. But what makes Natsu different is the fact that he has a crazy damage multiplier, especially in Fire Dragon King mode. So I'm more interested in that with the 500 pre-filled energy. Okay, interesting. Let's take a look at the animation. I think that Natsu's animations are great, and he actually has 2 animations, as you see here. He has a second animation, which is going to be in the Fire Dragon King mode with a darker red fire. Okay, let's move on to his skill 2. So Lightning Fire Dragon's Iron Fist, or Fire Dragon King's Iron Fist. So in Lightning Fire Dragon mode, Natsu deals this is going to go up to 560% of his attack as a multiplier, plus 56 per skill power, which is not a huge amount, but he will, to the enemy who has dealt the most cumulative damage, to like the hardest hitting enemy, and it will have an initial cooldown of 3 seconds in the fight, but then after that 12-second cooldown, while reducing the haste by 80. So the cooldown of this ability is kind of high. However, if you're running it with the twins can give you a lot of haste from their ultimate. That is going to reduce the cooldown, and probably you can get this cooldown down to like a 6-second cooldown with the haste from the twins. But this Lightning Fire Dragon mode is going to reduce the haste of the enemy who dealt the most damage by 80. The haste reduction effect diminishes over 5 seconds until it expires, so means it's not going to last for very long. Like, you know, Bonnie's debuff is a permanent, I believe, 30 haste debuff, and it can spread to all enemies. This is only one enemy target, and after 5 seconds, it's basically going to be gone. So it's going to rapidly disappear. And in Fire Dragon King mode, Natsu strikes an adjacent enemy, dealing damage equal to up to 50% of the target's maximum health, and knocking them down for 0.5 seconds. This damage cannot exceed 1000%, and it goes up to 1400% with skill power of Natsu's attack. So I like the Fire Dragon King mode version more, because for areas like AFK stages, for boss content, where the enemy is going to have very, very high maximum health, then you're going to always be hitting this cap of 1000 or 1400% with skill power of Natsu's attack, and that's a much higher multiplier compared to the 500 plus 56%. Yeah, it's a much higher multiplier. and you're not going to be having that haste debuff. However, 0.5 second knockdown is also useful, and I'm thinking about just using him as a raw damage dealer nuker. Now, for PvP though, this percentage of maximum health of the opponent, this is probably not going to reach like this cap of 1000% of Natsu's attack. So for PvP, you're not even going to be hitting this cap, and the damage might be kind of similar between the two different modes, and I can definitely see about like focusing and locking onto the enemy who has dealt the most damage and also reducing the haste. I can see the value behind that for PvP. So maybe Lightning Fire Dragon King mode or Dragon mode has value for PvP, but Fire Dragon King mode overall is looking better, and definitely for AFK stages, or if you're going to use it in bosses, then Fire Dragon King mode is looking better. So we have the skill 3 Fiery Ties. The skill triggers only once per battle. After the first defeat of an ally, fueled by rage, Natsu increases his attack and defense by 27%, okay, actually 30%, and it goes up 3% per skill power, so it goes up to potentially 42% of Natsu's attack, physical defense, and magical defense of the defeated ally's corresponding stats. Additionally, if the ally is defeated, Natsu increases his crit. If Lucy's ally defeated, Natsu increases his crit by 5 and crit damage boost by 5. So Lucy specifically being defeated doesn't actually provide that much value. Only 5 crit and 5 crit damage boost. That is very, very minor. And so like, it still would not warrant you running Lucy unless Lucy's otherwise going to be good on her own. But 42% of the attack and defenses of the ally who has died, that's very strong. But I wonder, how can you pull this off? Because like for AFK stages, the issue is it's very difficult for you to actually get an ally to die, and you usually don't want that to happen. But this is a pretty nice stat boost that he'll get. For PvP, this is looking good. Because one of your allies is bound to die in PvP, and then this is just going to give him a stat boost, which is a pretty meaningful stat boost. This is not just like a minor boost. This is pretty big. Yeah, like in total, especially with the skill power, it's going to be up to the level of basically a full twins buff, Stellar Bond plus Supreme plus skill of twins onto an ally. That is giving you, that's how much you're pretty much going to be getting from this with the skill power, like 42% total over here. But for regular arenas, 30%, which is still pretty good. But yeah, I don't know if that's going to be good enough, because I still think, see, the problem with Natsu is he doesn't have survival in his kit. So like, unless you're going to support him with faction tiles, he's probably going to die. So in regular arena, or like any faction that doesn't have invincibility, I really think Natsu's not going to work very well in PvP. Okay, moving on to the hero focus. In Lightning Fire Dragon mode, Natsu increases his haste by up to 15. Okay, in Fire Dragon King mode, he increases his attack by 20%. Again, yeah, like, all of the things about Fire Dragon King mode are more appealing to me. I think 20% attack is more valuable than 15 haste. 15 haste is valuable because you can cycle your cooldowns a bit more, but the thing is, look, the only skill which is on a cooldown is his Lightning Fire Dragon's Iron Fist, and it's on a 12-second cooldown, and like, even if you have 15 haste, that is not going to be a major reduction in the cooldown time. You're going to need to have more forms of haste, like from the twins, for example, and then the twins themselves, like with ultimate power, they provide 76 haste. So 15 is like kind of nothing compared to all of that. But 20% attack is nice, right? Like, just to boost his damage further. And definitely for boss content, I'm thinking Fire Dragon King mode has to be the way to go. Let's move on to the Salamander Natsu, which is the exclusive skill. When Natsu deals damage, he reduces the target's maximum health by... Okay, so we have something major here. By up to 50% at level 50, plus 15 exclusive equipment of the actual damage dealt. That is really... And there's no kind of... There's no limitation here. Like, when you look at Shamira's skill, maximum health reduction, you click on it and it says it can only reduce up to 25% of the initial maximum health of the opponent. Here, there's no limitation, which probably means that however much damage he deals, 50% of that damage dealt is just going to be deducted and actually grayed out from the HP bar of the opponent, and they will not be able to recover that health back. So definitely, this is looking promising. This effect does not apply to bosses, of course, because their health can sometimes be infinity, and the max HP reduction per enemy cannot exceed 800. Okay, there's the limitation that you have here. The HP reduction cannot exceed 800% of Natsu's attack. That is a problem, because 800% of Natsu's attack, like for AFK stages, 800% of his attack is probably not going to be very much, because opponents usually have much higher stats compared to you. Their health pool is massive compared to your attack and health numbers. So I don't know how much is this actually going to reduce. For PvP, definitely this can reduce a lot on the opponent. But like, we're thinking about more of the AFK stage angle. But let's see, level 3. While enemies are under any debuff inflicted by Natsu, their max HP drops by 20% of Natsu's attack every 0.5 seconds. 20% of his attack every 0.5 seconds. That's every 1 second. That's 40% of his attack. And this damage will be ticking down. But only when they're under a debuff inflicted by Natsu. And that's a major issue, because he only inflicts like this haste debuff, right? That's it. Like, stun, I don't even think is actually classified as a debuff. And anyway, it's only 3 seconds. And the haste debuff is 5 seconds, that's it. And then it's worn off. So, like, I don't understand. Like, I mean, normally the exclusive skill of a hero is, like, majorly game-changing. But this is just seeming really strange, because it's like, he hardly has debuffs. And even if he does have a debuff, it's only on one enemy target, if you're talking about haste debuff. Stun generally is not considered a debuff. It might be considered a debuff here, but I don't know. I've never thought of I've thought of stun as like a crowd control effect, not actually a debuff. But I don't know. But either way, it's only for 3 seconds onto the enemies, and 20% of his attack every 0.5 seconds. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this exclusive skill. I just do not think it's impactful enough. I was hoping for something that would be like more like, you know, actually sealing the deal with Natsu, but this just kind of like seems like some sort of decent, like, seems like a kind of minor upgrade. Looking at his enhanced force and supreme plus skill, when Natsu causes an enemy to lose health through any means other than his normal attacks. Okay, now we're talking. He burns the enemy for 5 seconds, dealing what? So his Supreme Plus is just like better than his Mythic Plus. That's what it's looking like. 80% of his attack damage every 0.5 seconds, and is gonna burn for 5 seconds when Natsu causes the enemy to lose HP through any means other than his normal attacks. That means when you use your Iron Fist attack, that means when you use your ultimate ability, you're gonna then burn them for 5 seconds, and that's gonna be 10 procs of this 80% attack multiplier. That's in total 800% of his attack multiplier in damage procs. So overall, I'm a little bit confused about Natsu, to be honest. Like, he does look decent, but at the same time, I just don't know where he's going to be useful. In PvP, I really think he's going to need a lot of support. I don't think he's going to be great just running him in any faction, unless his damage is just so high that after he casts his ultimate, it's just going to nuke people. Which it very well could be. In Fire Dragon King mode, he has an insane multiplier, especially with ultimate power. Okay, so I want to take a look at his charms. What we're going to do now is I'm going to show you guys in the shop. What we have in the shop is a pretty cool dimensional bundles. Now, even though this one says 650%, I actually think this is way more valuable than the other bundles, because it's like, I mean, you're going to need 40 to get a guaranteed hit of the hero you want, right? And this is basically half the price of buying the 40 here. So like, in every way, I feel like this is just the better way to, if you're going to buy something here. So I'm going to buy this because I think it's not actually that bad. And I want to see Natsu and take a look at his charms that he can get. Okay, so taking a look at the charm effect. So these are the charms that he'll be able to get for this season. Again, very strange. Ultimate and skill power is looking decent, because his ultimate power multiplier and skill power multipliers are both good. I can definitely see that being used. Definitely for something like AFK stages, but haste and skill power also is very interesting to cycle his Iron Fist cooldown more with the haste, and skill power does benefit him quite a bit. I would not do haste and attack speed, I don't think, and this one just gives you attack. So I would probably choose sorcery or a mystic charm. A little bit leaning towards sorcery, although I don't really know. For like AFK stages where you're dealing AoE damage, then his ultimate power is important. But if you're talking more about boss content, I think maybe Mystic Charms might be better. And as for the actual set effect bonus, let's take a look at what he'll get here. So this is not actually Tailien's effect. This is going to be restore 80 energy per second until the caster's energy is fully restored for the first time. This is going to allow him to charge his initial ultimate even faster. He begins with 500 pre-fill energy. He's going to get this 80 energy per second. Upon casting the first ultimate, increases attack by 30%, crit by 30 for 8 seconds. So this is all about PvP, like nuking the opponents like in these first 8 seconds after casting his ultimate, because he's gonna have like massive boosts. So I can kind of understand that, but like for a long drawn out fight and for AFK stages, this charm effect is pretty much useless because it's only for 8 seconds that he gets this effect. So overall, yeah, Natsu, he's definitely interesting. But we're gonna have to do testing with him to actually figure out how good he actually is. But let me know, what are your opinions about Natsu after going through his full skills. What do you think about him? Is there anything that I missed or you want to touch on? Feel free to let me know in the comment section, and we'll be coming up with Lucy's video after this as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. That is going to be it for this one. If you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please smash that subscribe button. And also feel free to join my AFK Journey Discord server. There's a link to that in the description of this video. But thank you for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.